Bob Marley was very much rock and roll.
Is it strange maybe for you? Do you think it's a long way from Bob Marley to, well, to be a singer in the Parlor Mob? I mean, music-wise, or do you see, well, it shines through for you immediately? Can you?
Well, I mean, I think right off the bat, there's clearly a ton of musical differences. Like, Bob Marley played predominantly roots rock reggae, and we're a rock and roll band. But I think of all the reggae artists that I've ever heard personally, Bob Marley was very much rock and roll, you know, and
Why?
Also,
why?
Because it was less like, especially some of the earlier stuff, it was a lot more like, I think when that Chris Blackwell guy got involved with him and wanted to appeal to, like, I think American audiences and European audiences, he wanted to bridge the gap between Caribbean music and like the more reggae-oriented sounds and kind of like soften it a little bit, bring some more rock elements out of it to kind of, I think, appeal to European and American audiences. And that's why it's, I think, a little less, I don't know, typically reggae, maybe. To me, it sounds more rock and roll and more kind of, you know, has some more rock elements like guitar solos and a lot of the guitar tones and Hammond organ and things like that. A lot of things that were being used in rock and roll at the time. And I know this because I saw a documentary about it, which made me understand it. But also the way that he talks about, deals with like life issues, like he deals with a lot of social issues in his music, always did. But not in a way that was like too politically, you know, it wasn't like partisan. It was just very like kind of common sense way, like so that anyone could understand it type of way. And I don't know if we've really been able to achieve that in our music, you know, as well as I would like to. But I think in our first record we were able to. We deal with some stuff, but try not to be too on a soapbox about it, but deal with issues in a way where it's kind of like appealing to people's better nature in a lot of ways.
Do you have an example maybe of a song on your first album that you say, well, maybe in a distant way we can compare it to what the spirit of Bob Marley is? Yeah,
there's like Carnival of Crows, for instance, is one of the songs. Like that song kind of, it uses metaphors to kind of describe the way certain aspects of our government in the States go wrong, or you know, some aspects of that, and it does it. I mean, that's just a good example of a song that I think is that way, without getting too much into the specifics of what all the lyrics mean. But it's like a socially conscious song, like it's kind of a social commentary song, if you will. And there's other songs on the record that are that way, and I think if you listen to it and you kind of listen to the lyrics and what the music, kind of the vibe of the music, it kind of has that sort of vibe. I mean, that's what we thought, were thinking of at the time.
But you don't want to explain the lyrics, you were saying?
No, I try to shy away from explaining too much from the lyrics. Because then I think it takes away from what people take, like, I know that when I listen to a song, I listen to it, the lyrics, and I like get in my head like what I think the song is about. And if someone else was to tell me exactly what the song was about, then I don't know if it would spoil it for me, like, because, you know, I like to leave it what people think of it, you know what I mean? There's some things on the record are very, very self-explanatory and very clear, and other things are kind of like a little bit more vague metaphors that I kind of like to leave open to.
Is there one song that you admired, that you had your own visions with when you listen to a song that once you knew what the song was about, it completely ruined, well, your fondness of the song?
I mean, I'm sure there is, but I can't think of one. All my favorite artists, like Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan never really, that I've ever seen in any of his interviews, let too much on to like what the songs were about, you know? So he was always very secretive about what the songs were about. You know, never really gave too much description that I've ever seen, and I've looked for it, you know what I mean? So I think most of the artists that I really love are pretty secretive about that sort of thing.
That's good.